This is another Airsoft Mike production.
Oh wow, it's here. Do you know, there was one point where I felt or thought this would be the most realistic airsoft gun I will ever own. Remember when I did a video on this bad boy? I mean, look at the magazine. Well, I was wrong. This bad boy, not only is it the latest gen, so it does have the 3rd generation gas blowback system, even the materials used to construct this has been upgraded. This is the Rear Arms AR15 Co2 blowback shell ejecting airsoft rifle. Now clearly, as you can see, I bought extra mags and there's more on the way, and I dropped further cash on buying more shells. Now these ones are metal, and believe it or not, I have more on the way. Inside here there should be more shells, but they're plastic. Now, what I love about this, it's sealed, completely sealed. I love it, and I love that the box is a case. Okay, so very nice case, Rear Arms logo, comprising of what I think is a front sight and a target, although you could say that is also a reticule. And although it's a material case, it has some form of solidness about it. Now, it's not cheap. It is a considered purchase. You're not going to get a brand new one of these for less than $1,000, let me tell you. Bruh. Okay. Nice, I'm loving that they've done this, because this is like no other airsoft rifle you've ever owned if you don't have one of these. So yeah, got your warnings on there and your tips. Now, as always, as you just saw, I haven't looked at this yet. I literally just took the plastic wrapping off the case. Oh. Look at this beauty. It just looks so neat. And right there you've got your little inner case with all your accessories. Okay, so these are your plastic shells. Nice. So you have your special oil for your O-rings and an Allen key. Oh, and more Allen keys. And, of course, your mag. Okay, I must say, the stock looks a bit different to what I'm used to, but I'm telling you, overall, this thing looks so neat. Lots of hook and loop designed for this. Oh, would you look at this, baby? Oh wait, there's something else. Ah, got to be for the CO2.
The Rear Arms AR15 Co2 blowback shell ejecting rifle. The 14.5-inch CNC metal variant. Overall rifle length, 760 to 881 millimeters. The most realistic airsoft AR you will ever own. This primary features the following. The R system, a 3rd-generation gas blowback system for smoother cycling, extended lifespan, and 30% increased efficiency. An adaptable gas system that has a variable volume adjustment to optimize the rifle performance in diverse temperatures. A 7075 T6 aluminum receiver, forged and CNC machined for durability and accuracy. It is an extremely high-strength alloy, the strongest of all commercial grades of aluminum. In fact, grade 7075 aluminum is stronger than many types of mild steel. Although this rifle is faithful to original dimensions, it has an internal anti-modification system for safety and legality.
Okay, let's have a look at the mag. Loving how legit it looks. Now, as you can see there, you've got your grey follower, which is shorter than the real thing. What it has at the end is a little ramp that will encourage the shells to go upwards into the chamber. And again, when you look on the side of the mag down here, a nice little handy window where you will see the rounds, and you've got that big old spring. And there's the other side. Right, so the next thing I want to do is have a look at the shells. So first, it's only fair that we look at the shells that comes with this. And I see why they've made these plastic ones, and we'll go into that in a moment, because I'm very interested to see if the actual chamber, or what the chamber is made from. From what I've seen on the earlier versions, it is plastic inside there. Everything outside, by the way, as I mentioned, or as you heard, is metal. Steel, a lot of steel going on, but the actual chamber, where the actual rounds are chambered, is not metal. And when you look at these shells, the fact that they are not metal makes sense. However, as you've already seen or know, Rear Arms also make full metal ones. And I can only imagine over time that these metal ones are going to be brutal against a non-metal chamber. But we'll come to that a little later. And by the way, you get 15 of the metal ones in their pack, and you get 30 of the plastic ones. And it's worth noting, these do degrade. It's plastic, so, you know, sooner or later they're going to start to degrade anyway, but I'd like to think that will be over a long period of time. But again, you can negate all of that by just buying the metal ones. They're not cheap. It's on safe. I'm going to pull the bolt back. Now, you would be forgiven for thinking that's metal. It's not, okay? It's some sort of hardened, whatever it's supposed to be, but it's not metal, it's not steel. But you can get a steel chamber from Rear Arms to fit in this. And before you start saying, uh-oh, that means it will be able to do the real thing.
No.
Okay, I've got some CO2. And you just pop it in this metal cylinder or chamber. Now, I was going to say with my silly self, oh, that's cool, there's a little hole there, so you can tell whenever there's a CO2 capsule in there. And then if you look inside the actual rifle grip, you will see the little piercing mechanism there for the CO2. And this next step is very important before you put the CO2 in. I'm going to do what I normally do, which is drop a bit of oil there, and then you use the supplied hex key and tighten it up. And of course, you make sure your selector switch is in the safe position. Oh, and by the way, there is a little hole down there so that you can actually store the hex key like that. Right, let's test this bad boy. Down there, I have 30 of the plastic ones, which I intend to use in this video. And there's 15 of the metal ones. I'm only going to put about 4 BBs in them and just test those too. So, and unlike the plastic ones, the metal shells have O-rings. You have no idea how much I am suppressing my excitement. Okay, you don't need to watch me putting in all 30 rounds, so I'll be right back. Right, 30 rounds in the mag. Again, loving that you can see them there. Oh, and by the way, despite what you may hear throughout this video, I did eventually take the sticker off because it looks amazing without it. Nice. Oh, and by the way, don't bother to leave the Allen key or hex key in the grip because it falls out very easily. Right, it's currently on safe. I'm going to take it off safe. I'm going to leave it on semi-auto first because naturally I want to make sure the whole shell ejection works. So, one shot, here goes. Now, the whole idea is that I'm going to do a chrono test, an accuracy test, and then I'll show you this in full auto, full shell ejecting mode. But who am I kidding? I need to see that now. So I'm going to put it on full auto. Here goes. And I've got my BB stopper there because there are BBs in each shell.
Welcome to the wonderful world of Airsoft.
Oh, we got a jam. It almost finished the mag. Not a problem. And no, you didn't just imagine that. A BB also ejected from the ejection port. So basically there are issues with the BBs in these plastic shells, and you will work out throughout this video that you're better off with the metal ones. Now let me just make sure that didn't happen because we ran out of CO2. Right, hold on. Taking it off safe. I'm just going to do a single shot. No, we got plenty CO2, so that was just a little jam. But again, not a big problem. Shall we just empty the mag now? I think there's about 3 or 4 left. Haha, nice. And we've got a bolt lock back. Nice. So, as you know, I filled this mag to its capacity. I went full auto. The shell ejecting was epic, okay, apart from one little jam. But what you didn't see is what was happening at the end of the barrel. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to test it again. I've just got 4 in there with a BB in each. And we're just going to see how we get on, okay? And I'm just going to do single shots. Perfect. It is as I expected. Have a look, because over there I had a piece of paper, and those were the shots I just took. So 3 there and 1 there. If it's on semi-auto, this is not trash. This is amazing, because most places you go to play Airsoft anyway, you're not allowed full auto, especially not in the building. So to prove my point that it works perfectly fine on semi-auto, and the BBs will not just flop out the end and drop, they will actually properly leave the barrel and do what it's supposed to do, I'm going to do a chrono test. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to err on the side of caution. Just while I'm doing the chrono test, I've only got 4 in there, so there's 4 BBs. And please note, we are still on the same CO2 capsule. Take it off safe. That's weak. Fairly weak, but I can tell you now, I think the CO2 is about to run out. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a fresh CO2 cartridge in. Okay, let me just completely empty the CO2. Oh, there it is. See, I told you. Right, I've got a fresh CO2 cartridge in here. Let's go again for another chrono test. I got my iPro on. Right, let's see if we can get a better result here now. See what I'm saying? Beautiful. And there you have it. Those are the type of readings I was expecting, averaging at a very decent and healthy 347. You could even say 348. Now, I am fully aware there are upgrades you can buy for this bad boy, which I fully intend to get. But for now, all I'm going to do is put 2 of the metal shells in the mag and test it. And I do have BBs in them. And again, the reason why I'm not going to fill the mag with the metal shells is because, as I've already shown you, hold on, let me just get this on safe. As I have already shown you, the chamber is not metal, okay? So, I don't know how it would fare against a big old heavy metal bolt and these metal shells slamming against it. So I am just going to use a couple of these metal shells just to test them out. So what I'm going to do here now is literally just stand right in front of this to make sure that the BBs go straight in and not flop out using the metal shells. Again, semi-auto. Release that bolt. Let me go back a bit, back a bit, back a bit. Here we go. Perfect. Perfect. Right. Accuracy test. So, I've got more rounds in the mag. I think there's about 6 or maybe 8. We'll see. Semi-auto, of course. I'm going to steer clear of full auto until we sort out the issues. And yeah, I will say this. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that maybe, just maybe, I didn't fill the mag neatly enough. Now they're perfectly in there, okay? So, the comment section is all yours, especially if you have one of these babies. Now again, this is the latest gen. I don't care what gen you've got. What are your experiences with this platform? Usual distance. Wow, I tell you what, that is not shabby at all considering, I mean, you may think I was way off there, but look how small, say for example, from that shot there, which is the bullseye, to that off shot right there, look, that's the sort of distance we're talking. That is brilliant. Please, can I give myself another?
Perfect. Perfect.
Now you may be thinking, hold on, you didn't even have any sights on that rifle. Well, actually I did, which explains this button. Nice. Which is adjustable. Double nice. And of course you have your rear sight. Nice. Right there, windage. Now, of course, there's nothing stopping you from putting on something a little bit more fancy. Ooh, tasty. Now, of course, you've got all the functions you would expect to find on a platform like this. You have your steel fire selector switch. So you've got your safe, your semi, your full auto. Let's have a listen. Oh, nice. Nice and crisp. Oh, mate! Colts MFG Co. Inc., Hartford, Connecticut, USA. And you know what? Well done, Rear Arms, because what they could have done is they could have etched their logo into the receiver, making it less realistic, but instead they just slapped it on a sticker so you can just peel that off if you want to. So you're just left with real world markings. So at the back here you have a QD sling point, a regular sling point here, loving these serrations at the rear here, and your stock release. And then you've got more of your sling points here that we are all very much familiar with, especially if you run an M4 AR type airsoft platform. And then here you have your charging handle, and there you have your bolt paddle so you can lock or release the bolt. And of course you've got a very generous rail system at the top and M-LOK hand guard. And it's hop-up adjustable. Right in there. Can you see it? Just there, look. Let me show you from a different angle. There. And there you have your steel flash hider and more QD sling points. So on this side you've got more QD sling points, and same on the other side that I didn't show you, another one there. And of course you have your CNC machined bolt, and I think this just might be the first time I'm going to say this, for an Airsoft platform, you've got a fully functioning forward assist. And you know what? It's grown on me. When I first saw this stock, I was thinking, not too sure, but it's grown on me. I love it. Yeah, QD. Very nice trigger action too, I must say. I love that this really does mimic its real counterpart. So for example, if I've left a round in there, if I slowly pull it back, you can see that it's hanging on to that round. See that? Right there. Decent. So, what are my final thoughts on this exciting Rear Arms Gen 3? Well, to be fair, I can't give you my final thoughts because you saw what happened during the video. Now that could be down to me not loading the mags properly. I don't know. It could be a feeding issue when using those plastic ones. I don't know. Which is why I need to do another video. And in that video, I'm going to have a look inside this baby. Okay, a good old rummage and see what makes it tick. But out of the box, for what it does and what I'm going to be using it for in film production, this is perfect. Literally, doing full auto is so exciting. I've just got to make sure I load the mags properly. I'm probably just going to stick to the metal ones, but that's after the new steel chamber arrives, okay? But yeah, it's exciting. But in terms of using this for gameplay, it's the same old, same old. You know, I've said this so many times. I've got other platforms like the Car 98Ks and the Lee Enfields and pistols that also eject shells. For gameplay, it might not be practical because you're going to be losing them shells, but you can get a shell catcher. Don't tell anyone, but if I was to tell you that 60 of these shells, you're not going to get much change from... Bruh. Good grief. So for collectors, I give this 1 million out of 100. For usability, for filmmaking, I give this 1 million out of 100. For Airsoft gameplay, for now, I'm going to say 4 out of 10. But if you use it on semi-auto, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Just be prepared to lose your shells.